Welcome to this slow Yin Yoga flow practice. Let's begin with the legs together in Seiza, sitting on top of your heels with your hands resting in your lap, and close your eyes and taking your mind to your breathing. Feel the fullness of the breath as you inhale. And feel the fullness of your exhale. And with your next inhalation at the top of the breath, hold the breath in for 2 or 3 seconds. And then letting it go when you're ready, exhaling. And then hold the breath out at the bottom of the breath for another 2 or 3 seconds. You decide how long. And keep on breathing this way, inhaling and holding. So just a gentle lengthening of the breath. And when we hold the breath in and when we hold the breath out like this, we have this greater appreciation of the act of breathing, this greater awareness of the breath. And it also brings quite a bit more energy into the system, as you might be noticing. So one more inhale, one more exhale like this with the retention. And return to an easy and natural breath. And now sounding Om with me 3 times, just waking up the voice. It's not about how it sounds, it's completely about how it feels. So letting this sound resonate in the chamber of the heart. Inhale the breath. Om. 2 more times. And opening the eyes and leaning forward just to tuck the toes under you and make your way into a squat where your heels might come to the ground or they might stay up like mine do because they just don't want to go down the way my ankle bones are. And take some time here enjoying the squat pose. You might like to keep your fingers or hands on the ground, or you might like to take the palms together. Either way, we're focusing on the lower back, the sacrum, and maybe also enjoying some feelings in the joints of the ankles, the feet, the toes, the knees. And now let's start to challenge the leg strength by pressing into the feet, lifting up so that the thighs come parallel with the floor, and then lower it right back down. And back up again. And all the way back down. And let's do this one more time. Lifting up. And all the way back down. Good. Hands to the floor. Lift the hips up. Come into a forward bend Uttanasana, hanging over your legs. Hold opposite elbows and sway side to side. And just take the hands back to the ground. Open the feet to a little bit wider than your shoulders. And take your right hand onto the ground. It can be fingertips or palm. Lift your left arm up. If you need to bend your knees to reach the floor, please do. And come back down and take it to the other side. And bring it back down. Once more on each side. You might want to bend one knee to make this more comfortable for your hips. Please feel free to bend knees, to re-angle feet as you wish in this practice. Take care of your body. Don't try and do exactly what I'm doing. Do exactly what feels right for you. Let's go ahead and heel toe the feet farther out and come into some side lunges over your right leg. Hands on the floor to support you. And again, your heel might stay down on the ground, or it might like to lift up the way mine does. We come over to the other side, lunging over the left leg. Good. Bring it back up to the center and back over the first leg, this time without the hands, using your leg strength a bit more. And see if you can press up and come over to the other side without the hands. Very good. Bring it back up to the center and lengthen the heart forward. Clasp your hands behind your back. Lengthen a little bit more and now come all the way down as the arms lift up behind you. Good. Release the hands back down. And now walk the hands over your left foot, coming into a lunge. And dropping the back knee down onto the ground. Untuck the back toes. Sweep the arms up over your head, coming into this crescent lunge. Lift the gaze. Inhale. And exhale, bring the hands down to the ground and into half split pose. Shift the hips back and soften the chest forward over the leg. And wag your tail side to side because it feels good. And come forward onto the front leg again. Lift both arms back up over the head. Inhale and exhale. Open your wings out to the sides. Elbows bent like cactus arms. And take this right hand to the ground, left arm up into a twist. Optionally, you can lift the back knee off of the ground. Good, and now take both hands on the inside of the foot and drop the back knee, come down into lizard pose, gecko pose. Maybe both elbows find the ground, maybe just one, or maybe you use a block under the elbows, or you're just up on the hands. Go ahead and allow yourself to move here. You can shift your weight side to side. And coming back up, hands back to either side of the foot and taking it now into plank pose. Inhale your breath here, and as you exhale, drop your knees, come all the way down onto the belly, lift up into baby cobra pose, shoot the arms back, and lift the legs up off of the ground into locust. And begin to swim your locust, just side to side, moving the arms and legs. You could take the arms out in front of you like you're swimming, moving the limbs all about. Just imagining you're a baby, finding out what are these things that are attached to me, these arms, these legs, all these different ways to engage my spine. How wonderful. Hands back to the earth. Lift your hips up and back. Child's pose. And make the little teepees with the hands, so little tents. And you can get a little bit more action in the shoulders here, a little more hollowing of the armpits. Bringing your shoulder blades onto your back more with this action. And now let's bring it back up, hands and knees, and taking the right leg forward, and coming into crescent lunge, arms both up over the head. And releasing down, hands to the earth as you shift your hips back into that luscious half split. Blocks under the hands here can be quite helpful. And shifting forward once again and returning to crescent lunge, lifting the arms up. And now opening your wings, opening your chest. Find the back bend. Inhale. And exhale, left hand to the earth as the right arm comes up. And the optional lifting of the back leg, you could keep the back knee down if you prefer. And now taking both hands down on the inside of the front foot, drop the back knee, and coming down onto the elbows if that feels right, or you can just stay up on the straight arms into gecko pose. And again, allowing as much movement as you feel like making here. And coming back up, placing the hands back onto either side of the front foot, plank pose. Inhale, chaturanga with or without the knees. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward dog. And any movement that feels good in downward dog, maybe it feels good to walk the legs right now. I do say it does. And now step one leg forward to come back into that wide stance that we had and over into your side lunge over your right leg and back up to the center and into your side lunge over your left leg. And back up now with no hands, coming into a more powerful side lunge and again into a more powerful side lunge to the second side. Now let's come on up into a warrior lunge, so turning your right toes out to the right and bending the back knee. Your back heel can come up off of the ground, taking your left arm forward and your right hand back behind you. So this is the warrior advanced pose in the Yang flow practice. And let's bring it over to the other side. Inhale through the center, shifting on the feet as you need to, landing in the other side. And you can turn your front toes out to the side as much as you want to. They don't need to be front and back. Inhale back up to center and first side again. This time, experiment with the back knee. Dip it down toward the ground, maybe even touch, and then lift back up. Do that another time or two. And back up through the center and over to the second side. Bend the back knee down, lift it up, and down, and back down. And bring it back up to the center. And now back into that warrior advance. This time sweep both arms up over the head. Inhale the breath. Exhale, open it out into dragon wings. And as you exhale, clasp the hands behind the back. Drop the back heel to the ground. Inhale, lengthen the chest upward. Exhale, hinging at the hips to come down on the inside of that front knee. Great. And now inhaling back up into a warrior one pose. And exhaling into triangle pose over your right leg. Feel free to use a block under your hand. And now taking the top hand down to the hip, gazing down at your right foot, let's bring it into half moon pose. Lifting the back leg off of the ground. Right hand comes in front of you for your balance. And you can keep the gaze on the ground. You could even keep both hands on the ground to help with balance. Or if you're comfortable taking left hand to the hip or up into the air, go for it. Inhale the breath here. And as you exhale, bring it down as gracefully as you can into warrior two. Inhale the breath. And as you exhale, shifting into your warrior advance pose on the second side. Right hand forward, left arm back, and sweep the back arm forward and up into a crescent lunge. And open out your wings to the sides. Dragon wings. And clasp the hands behind the back. Lengthen the arms, open your chest. Drop the back heel to bring it down into this graceful bow. Arms lifting away from the back. Lift up into warrior one now, sweeping the arms forward and up. Inhale the breath here, reach up through the fingertips, and exhale, bring it into triangle pose. Staying connected to your breath. And releasing now to bring it into that half moon pose. So you can bring the back foot in, left hand comes out in front of you on the floor. Bring the back leg up. Again, both hands could find the floor or they could be on top of blocks. Or if you're comfortable with the balance, taking hand to the hip, right hand to the hip, or up into the air. Maybe you fall out of it, and maybe you just try again. Good, bring it back down into warrior one pose. Inhale. And open it out to warrior two. And coming up to the center, bring the hands onto the hips and opening it up into goddess squat. Bend the knees, hands on the knees, and do this little shoulder shimmy. One shoulder forward as you look over that shoulder, and then the other shoulder forward as you look over it. And you can really lock your elbows here. That's going to do this wonderful thing where it lifts your shoulder girdle off of your ribs, making space in all of this upper extremity stuff. All the nerve complexes up here that come out of the neck and run under the shoulder blades. Such good stuff. And guess where we're going from here is a frog pose. Both hands to the earth. Open up your knees wide, not wider than you feel good about. Soles of the feet together, or soles of the feet can be wide as the knees. And come onto the elbows, holding our first long yin pose here with the frog. So if the inside of your knees are just not comfortable here, if you're on a hard floor, then use some cushioning. Get a blanket or a couple of blankets. And the target area of this pose is inner thighs, inner groin. So you can shift your body around. Try different widths of the knees. Try bringing your hips farther back and farther forward until you find the stretch that feels right in your inner thighs. And again, your feet could come closer together. That just works better for some people. I like to have mine far apart, but there's nothing magic about that. And slowly coming out of this, slowly bring the knees together and come on into puppy pose. From hands and knees, take your arms farther forward, melt your heart down to the ground. You might be someone whose chest comes to the ground, you might be someone whose chin comes to the ground easily, or you might be more of a forehead on the ground person. And the target area here is the thoracic spine, bringing the heart to the ground, opening the chest, and opening the armpits as well. A variation you might enjoy is to get into the triceps more by bending the elbows, palms together, or hands on the back. And releasing, coming up and into plank pose. From plank pose right into side plank over your left leg. So open your right hip up and back, lift the right arm up into the air, inhale the breath, and exhale, take the arm over the head, reaching away from the feet. Now, if this is too much for you, modify by bending the bottom knee, placing the knee on the floor. And in the side plank, think about arcing the body, lifting the hips up a little bit higher, and getting some nice length in the right side of the neck. Good, and release it down. And now right over to the other side. Again, modifying if you'd like by bringing the right knee to the ground. You can take that top arm across. And go ahead and lift up the hips, finding that rainbow arc with the body. Nice length in the left side of the neck. And both hands to the floor, plank pose, 3 breaths. Bend the knees, come all the way down onto the belly. And lift up into Sphinx pose or seal pose. So see if you can lock out the elbows if you're coming all the way up into seal. Turn the hands out a little bit so that it makes it easier to lock the elbows. And then experiment with how much you can relax your body in this position, especially around your glutes, your lower back, your legs. And slowly lower down. Press it back into child's pose. And coming up, taking it into your choice of an outer hip stretch. So it could be pigeon, aka sleeping swan in the yin practice. We're going for this glute stretch, right glutes if your right leg's forward. And your other choices are square or shoelace pose. So square pose here, shoelace pose, 2 knees on top of each other. Everyone's hips are different. I find that people just really love 1 or 2 of these and dislike the others often. So choose which one you love. No need to suffer, and come into it for a couple of minutes with me. And then we'll do the other side together, and it'll be wonderful. I once had someone, a yoga student, tell me at the yoga studio I was working at that he was a friend of mine, but he didn't ever take my classes. And one day he decided to explain to me why he didn't take the Yin Yoga classes, because he thought that I was going to make him do pigeon pose, and he hates pigeon pose. It's very far from what actually happens in my Yin Yoga classes, as you may know. Often there is a choice. There's always a choice, and you are never encouraged to suffer in a pose that you feel is not doing anything for you. If you hate pigeon, there's nothing wrong with you. It just says something about how your bones are built. And slowly come on up, change sides, whichever pose you are enjoying. And slowly release the posture, and very slowly find your way onto your back. Making your way into Shavasana, final relaxation. You can take the star pose, spreading out wide, or any version of resting on your back that you would like. And as you come into stillness, noticing perhaps any waves of energy, any reverberation of what has happened during this practice, of the movement and the stretching and the strengthening you've done, of the energy that's been awakened. What is speaking to you? What did your body love so much that it wants to echo it, that it wants to remember it? Taking a deep breath in, a long breath out. Completely enveloped in sensation, completely immersed in awareness of your body, awareness of your breath. Completely surrendering to the support of the earth. Letting Mother Earth hold you. Letting each breath gently swirl its way through the pathways that it wants to take. And imagine yourself as a clear, clean vessel for this breath. No obstructions, no tension in the way, just a clear channel for the beautiful breath. Being fed by the breath of the earth, nourished, continue to rest for as long as you'd like. Thank you for practicing with me. I'll see you next time. Namaste.